Hey, this is Lyle with Optimized Profitability Podcast. Today I'm here with John Vuong. He's an SEO expert out of Toronto, Canada, real near there. He's also a father of a 5-year-old, so you know he's got to know what's going on, right? He loves building a team and the process of solving problems, something he enjoys. And I'm looking forward to hearing his story. So John, tell us your story.
Well, thanks a lot, Lyle, for the intro. I started this company 7 years ago. It's called Local SEO Search. But prior to that, I guess back where my parents had me, they left the Vietnam War, and we resided in Toronto, Canada, so in the outskirts, about an hour away. And I was the fourth child of immigrant families, right? And they sacrificed everything. They liquidated all their assets, left the war, and basically we started from scratch, right? Didn't have a lot of support, didn't have family, didn't have a lot of people surrounding ourselves, and they didn't even know the language. So for us, it was like we had to get ourselves in order. We had to figure things out. And one thing that reminded me when I grew up was every night we actually had dinner together. That was the mandatory thing. We always had to be there for 5 o'clock, support each other, eat together. And every day was more chores. There was a lot of family gatherings, but we didn't travel. We didn't do stuff that I do today because we have the luxury of choice, right? But at that time, it was all family. So our siblings were together. I started my first job at newspaper delivery boy. And at that time, it was me doing it because I wanted to help out with the family, right? With groceries, milk and bread and food and whatnot. So I was always working. And all throughout high school, I probably had like 30 plus jobs, from factory work to, McDonald's, to landscapers, to odd jobs, restaurant, you name it. I've done it all. And then I studied school in business finance, got my degree. And then when the real work was happening, I got a first job. My career started in advertising sales. So I did that for about 10 years. And that's where I found where I really enjoyed what I was doing, where I really connected with people, not just the culture of businesses, but I was able to meet a lot of business owners and understood why they were doing certain things, take care of their customers, understanding their value prop, understanding that community means everything. They had a really good lifestyle, right? They took care of their base, but they also had a strong foundation of family, community. It could be religion. It could be relationships. It could be friends, hobbies, activities, but it was a really good balance. And so my last couple of years before I started this company was I worked at Yellow Pages. And I was there for 5 years, and I met thousands of local business owners, and it was fun at that time, but it was a challenge because, as you know, Google kind of replaced and wiped out that whole industry. And it basically made me understand that brands, companies are not there forever, right? Even though they've been there for over 100 years, like Yellow Pages, there was a shift. There was a behavioral technology shift, right? And I just either had to adapt to it or get destroyed. And while at Yellow Pages, all these business owners were letting me know that they were spending more than ever, return on investment was lower, and they were frustrated, but they didn't know where to go, who to turn to. So that's where I wanted to jump in and help them. I actually was letting them know that, look, if I started something, whatever it was, would you be interested, right? So that's how I shifted. I didn't know anything about SEO. I didn't know what and how to do it. I didn't come from a technical background. I was a sales rep. I was out there just meeting a lot of people, business owners, and I wanted to help. I solved the problem, and they were willing to pay for it. So I just had to go out there and deliver on the promise. So then came me trying to figure it out. So that's the journey of how I started this company.
Awesome. And what were the first steps you took to start figuring it out? Because I know you're saying you're shifting, but what had to shift? Was it a mindset shift? Was it an attitude, or just action?
So it was, I think, everything. For me, from being like, I guess at Yellow Pages, it allowed me a lot of flexibility. I was already working from home. They gave me a book of business, and I just had to deliver a higher retention rate and upsell and reduce the amount of loss. So it was already a good base for me, a foundation. But when it's on your own, you have to acquire new customers and figure out the entire process of sales, operations, deliverables, and then service, right? And accountability. There's so many other things that's on top of your mind, especially when you don't even know what you're doing at the beginning. Like running a business, it's different than selling a product to a company that already has the fulfillment in order, right? The whole process and system has already been implemented properly. So then you have to develop it yourself, right? And especially for SEO, I didn't even know what I didn't know, right? And it was a lot longer in terms of learning curve, a lot of mistakes I made. I hired a lot of wrong people. The good thing was I was a sales rep. So I went out there and sold. So that was the one thing that I feel as a business owner, you need that art of sales or art of passion, art of making sure you have customers. No customers, no business, right? No revenue, no business. So I was out there, first customer gave me 6 months. So a couple $1,000, I was on the race, right? First couple months, I started selling more. I then had to figure out now what do I need to do to make sure that whatever I sold match what they paid for, right? So then I started hiring people. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot. I was reading a lot of blogs, watching a lot of videos, trying to figure it out, and hired wrong people and kept firing, mistakes. So first couple of years was very stressful. A lot of sleepless nights, working 16, 18 hours. This is before my son was born.
That's good.
And yes, so it allowed me to actually put a lot of effort into the business. And even before that, one thing I do recall very strongly was my wife, full support, because without support and foundation of, look, I was at a stage where I could either continue working in sales, looking at another company, or I just got married. I bought a place with my wife, and she gave me the flexibility saying, look, you do it now. If you're going to do it, have fun, enjoy it, but I want you to grow, right? Like as much as I'm going to support you, eventually you need to support yourself, right?
Right, of course.
So that's where I feel like just that foundation of having someone along your side, being a big advocate of yours, allowed me to pursue something that I was passionate with. And so that allowed me to have confidence on what I was doing, even though at the beginning I had no clue what I was doing, to be honest. I didn't come from an SEO background to know what needed to be done, right? So over the years, I started growing the team. I started getting more clients that were more my type of tribe, because at the beginning I was taking on anyone. And as you know, as a business owner, you don't want to take everyone on. You just want to take the ones that you know would be of value and you can help them, and they are aligned with your values as well, right?
Right.
So over the years, I refined that. I got better, and now we're cultivating good customers that we actually care about, that we want to help, right? And so as much as they inbound, they send out a request wanting to work with us, we say no more than yes. And that's where you're in a good space, right? Because you're having fun as well. And you know where you fit in the grand scheme of things.
Right. Tell us a little bit more about your sales process, especially when you first got started, because a lot of people that we talk to, that sales is scary because you want to help a customer, but you also have to charge a customer. So you've got that balance, because you said multiple times that you care about these people. And I agree. You got to care about people who are in your business. So what's that sales process look like for the caring side of it?
Yeah, so at the beginning, I was taking clients on, not knowing the deliverables and how long it took, the accountability. So I made a lot of mistakes, and I was authentic though. I was transparent with them because of my price point, and people took that price point knowing that risk.
Okay.
But as you progress and you get better case studies and more testimonials and better track record, you're able to charge a different rate, because then you have systems and processes in place as well as a track record. So right now, this whole sales process is more when people, fill out a form or call in, we have onboarding questions, right? We have vetting process. And then we actually do a probe question as well to see where they're at in their business cycle. What are the challenges? What have they done? How much are they comfortable spending? What is their threshold? What is their revenue like? Why do they need SEO ultimately? Because if people think it's going to be their holy grail, they're in it for the wrong reasons, right? It's not going to transform a business. What we are all about is being true to them and letting them know we help good businesses become great businesses, but they have to understand how to run a good business. We cannot fix their problems. We cannot figure out how they can service them better, understand their product when they don't even know it better than ourselves, right? Like they have to already have a really strong foundation. So understanding our core, right? And then the process is, like learning, asking questions, learning, making mistakes, asking more questions, adding more value, making more mistakes, and just figuring it out, right? Because that's the whole evolution of a business. If you know it inside out at the beginning, then you're not in a good business, right? Because there's always something that you can get better at, either by the people, the software, the system, the clients, the whole process. Like this whole SEO world is complex. So it allows us to stay on top of what's going on. It challenges us a lot, right? And that's why it's fun for me and the team, because we're always trying to evolve and get better.
Awesome. And what's some things you're doing right now that's winning in your personal business that might help somebody else?
Yeah, so personally, I feel like having time to reflect and really understand why you're doing things your way or the right way, or you may think it's the right way or not the right way, and slowing down, even though everyone wants to scale. Everyone thinks money is the savior of everything. Really understand what you have and be grateful for it, where the gaps are, and try to systemize so that you can increase efficiency and productivity. Don't try to overdo things all the time, right? And that's where I felt like I was kind of racing at the beginning. Now I'm jogging or walking, and it's okay, right? Because I'm ultimately grateful for the journey thus far. People want to scale. They want to 10x everything because social media says you can make 10,000, 100,000 a month.
Right.
That's why they're selling a course,
exactly.
Right? But are they really doing it? Like, have they ever done it themselves? If they have, you know how long it took? They don't tell you how long it took, how many years of failures, how many years of experience someone's ever gotten before they became successes. Overnight success was 20 years in the making, right? So all these are things I've kind of learned, and I am so grateful for the clients, the staff that I have, just the process, the learnings, just because of this during pandemic, you have to really reflect and be present and understand like what you have as opposed to what you don't have, because ultimately you have your health, you have your family, you have people, you have a business, things that you can be very proud of, right? And this should support your lifestyle. So just slow down.
Yes, that's important. That's a great word. I appreciate that word. We're moving into Thanksgiving here in America. And so the idea is to pause and give thanks for what's going on in life. And I think that's a missed skill that people quit developing. You get on social media and you compare so much that you miss the opportunity of just comparing to where you were a year ago or 2 years ago, something.
Yeah, so, reflect, right? And that's exactly what it is.
So what's one tip you give somebody if they're like, I don't understand sales. I want to reflect, but I feel so busy. I just can't stop and reflect. I don't know what that looks like. What's a tip you'd give them?
So stress is a big thing for a lot of people. They put so much pressure on themselves. As an entrepreneur, I did it as well. I was very frustrated. I thought we could do way better. We could make more. But why? Why are you chasing? So now that I'm slowing down, I'm less stressed. I'm very grateful and I'm living presently. But at the beginning, it was all about how do I replace my income if you had a job, full-time job, and you want to make sure that lifestyle exists. It might not happen right away. And if it did, you're 1% of all the entrepreneurs out there. So give it time. Maybe do a side hustle. Learn the process. Learn skills that you don't currently have, right? And there's so many communities out there to learn. Watch videos, listen to podcasts, but take action. So one thing I always say is always learn. Try to continue evolving. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot. I'm a part of a lot of communities. I'm always trying to get advice from people that I look up to, right? But I'm a continuous learner because that's a part of entrepreneurship. If you stagnate and you feel like you're the top epical and you know everything, you shouldn't be in business, right? So, but go out, make mistakes, go out, do something. So I would say take action as the number one thing, like just go out and do something.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is be aware of the shiny object syndrome and going 12 different directions. Pick one. If you do social media, pick one social media, not 100, and get good at that. Put it into action. I love that, putting it into action. That's so important. So we're going to end this conversation. I'm going to ask you for one more quick tidbit of wisdom before we leave. And I want to invite everybody, if you're listening in on us or you're watching this online, I want to invite you to the rest of the conversation. We're going to talk about SEO. We've talked a lot about it. That's the business he's in. I do this as well. And we're going to talk about what that looks like. What is SEO? How does it work? How do you make it happen for your business? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So I want to tell you that before you even go to this next section. But we're going to have a quick conversation about that. So if you want to dig in a little bit more what SEO is from two people who are in the field, we're going to have a great conversation. So last tidbit, what's your last little bit of wisdom you want to leave us with?
Just enjoy life. Just be grateful. I'm very fortunate to be doing something I love. And you'll know when you are waking up wanting to do something, adding value, helping others, right? That's where you're in a good stage in your life, right? And it's a journey. Don't, like you mentioned, don't rush it, right? There's going to be a lot of hiccups. It's never this incline. It's always this peaks and valley, right? So you have to endure those stressful moments and high and low times, right? But just be ultimately grateful for what you have. Just slow down, man. I just love every moment that you have on earth and be very grateful for what you have.
Great. Those are good words. Sure appreciate you, John. We'll see you guys on the next session, on our bonus session with John Vuong. Thanks for being on with us.
Thank you, Lyle.